Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. It looks like Celtic are making some headway within the transfer market, and according to one transfer guru, there was a deal done last night, and some people are saying that they're underwhelmed by the transfer market. Although Benji is a player that is not maybe of the valuation that some people were kind of hoping that for the players that we would go for, but the fact that he can play in several positions and he's got that contract until 2029 plus an extra year option until 2020, to me this says that Celtic are building for the future. And what does it say for the future of Nico Kuhn? Also, in other transfer news, I mean, people are going to say it's 1.5 million euros. It's about £1.2 million. But there's people in his homeland saying Celtic have got themselves a bargain here. Celtic have got themselves an absolute bargain. The club usually sells their prize assets for around about 8 to 10 million euros. The fact that they've managed to get this guy's price down, and it seems to be the way that Celtic are going this transfer window, as always it is. I think that there were the powers that be were a bit peed off at the way that the whole, and we're going to go over it again, the whole Adam Ida situation from last year. The bucket trucker, we've managed to get him at a bargain, and I'm not complaining about it. We're also in the market for another striker. Now, there's reports coming out this morning that we're in line for the next Kyogo Furiashi. This guy, he plays... he's obviously another Japanese forward. Is he the replacement that Brendan Rodgers is looking for in Kyogo Furiashi? The under-23 Japanese cap could be of interest to Celtic. That's all I'm going to say. Sin Yamada is a player. He plays for the same team as what was it not Rio Hitati played for them? But anyway, he scored 25 goals in 19. He's 25 goals in 19 league goals. Well, he's 25-year-old and he scored 19 league goals. That's another interesting one. It is an interesting one, considering we have just brought in the younger guy that's meant to be the third choice. Maybe Celtic are I don't know, and I'm going to say it, maybe Celtic are starting to hedge their bets. The fact that Dyson Maida's not signed a new contract yet, and this is why we're now getting linked with other Japanese forwards, because I think Celtic need to be prepared, and they will be prepared, but I think the fans more than anything will need to be prepared. And do you know, for the people that are saying I'm underwhelmed at this transfer window, look at what we bought Rio Hitati for. Look how much we bought Kyogo Furiashi for. Look how much we paid for Dyson Maeda. I mean, these are all players that come in for not a lot of money, but you know, they hit the ground running, and it's the way that the club it's the way that the club will always go. It is the business model, and for me, for the fact that we are being linked with this another Japanese forward, says to me that Celtic aren't 100% confident in the ability to get Dyson Maeda to sign an extension on his contract. And if he doesn't, and an offer comes in, Celtic will seriously look at it this summer. There is no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it that Celtic will seriously look at it. But anyway, I mean, all the headlines are saying that the Benji deal's a mega bargain. It's one of the bargains of the year. I'm just doing Danish. It is an interesting one, this striker. all the stats that you look at for Benji, he's the type of player that can come in and do well under Brendan Rodgers. And I think that they're making the move for him after the Mateus situation went on for too long. Remember, we could have got Mateus Fitzgarden for around about 4 million a couple of years ago. They're now wanting between 10 and 14 million for him. So I think that's why Celtic are probably acting a bit more, they're being a bit more prudent and acting quickly with this deal, because they have got him for such a good price. But anyway, let's jump into the comments and see who is all in online this morning. And after the breaking news last night that Celtic have done another deal, confirmed on the land of Twitterati by the one and only transfer guru Fabrizio Romano. He said that Benji to Celtic, here we go, deal done. 1.5 million euros, contract until 2029 plus an option till 2030. That's an interesting one. It's another 5-year deal. Celtic are protecting themselves and they are starting to bring in more players. You've got to remember a time that Celtic would bring someone in. They've brought in the young Scottish keeper. They brought him in on a 3-year deal. He didn't get a 5-year deal. He got a 3-year deal, which was interesting. But players that they think that they could sell on, they're all getting 5-year deals. Now they're obviously giving them the 5-year deals so that the player will come to Celtic, and they're obviously saying to the agent, look, if we get a fee worth X amount, I mean, it might not be written into the contract, but I mean, Celtics have done it before. Many former players have spoke about it, that Celtic went back on their word on the gentleman's agreement that they have. The old shake of hands. Look, if we get a deal, if we get somebody coming in for 10 to 15 million pounds for you, we'll sell you at that price, or we'll give you a pay rise type thing. But it is interesting the way that Celtic are doing it. Anyway, who was up first? Portugal Express. Stephen Johnson's in the house. Pubcat, Foghorn Leonard, Cormon, Stephen Johnson. Port Shop Express being a bit mischievous in the comments this morning. Mr. Quinn's in the house. No, he's not. I hope Mr. Quinn's well. I hope he's well, because he was going through a lot of personal stuff as well, wasn't he? Do you think that the Benji deal means that it's the end of the road for Nico Kuhn? Does it mean it's the end of the road for Nico Kuhn, and Nico Kuhn is his agent is actively seeking a new club for him? I mean, Celtic won't come out and say that that he's for sale. Celtic will come out and say, we want to keep all our best players. But the reality is Celtic knew for the best part of 6 months that Kyogo Furuhashi wanted away, so they will know the situation with the likes of Nico Kuhn. And I'm even going to say until Dyson Maeda signs that new contract at Celtic, there is the big fear that he will be sold this summer. Yeah, I've not seen Mr. Quinn for a while. I hope he is okay, and everything's going well in such a difficult time. I mean, where is the next position that Celtic really need to strengthen? That's the big question. I mean, that's the fact that we've went out and got a couple of wingers. We've strengthened the goalkeeping department, which is unfortunate for some of the younger goalkeepers at Celtic. Looks like Rocky's going to be leaving Celtic. Gustav Lagerbielke is going to be leaving Celtic. If Stephen Welsh leaves Celtic as well, it means that we are in the market for another defender. There's nothing concrete been made in that department as yet. I would expect Celtic to start making inroads to that. Kuhn wants a catchy song like Jota's. It does that. First half of the season, Kuhn was helping Alistair Johnston out in the right back area. After Christmas, Kuhn set 1 foot in his own half. Yeah, a proper number 6. Yeah, we could do. Kuhn will be sold for 17 million plus add-ons, and we need a centre back. Yeah, we do need a centre back, but it's what type of centre back are we looking for? Because we're obviously, Brendan Rodgers is wanting a left-footed centre back. We brought in Austin Trusty. Can Austin Trusty get over the first season jitters at Celtic and prove himself to be a fantastic player, a bit like what Liam Scales did? We know the limitations of Liam Scales. Is a fantastic player, but he has the odd jersey pulling issue with him, and he sometimes loses the ball when he's not got that pace that Brendan Rodgers talks about. So it's going to be interesting to see who we go for. And then there's the whole midfield position. Brendan Rodgers has said that he wants to strengthen the midfield. We really needed someone. I mean, we need someone in the midfield that's got a bit of height about them, and ultimately we need someone that can score corners, can score headers for corners, because the amount of corners that we get in games, when you look at it, on average Celtic must get, over the course of a season, we must average about 10 corners a game, and the return from that in goals is really, really bad. I'd like to see a midfielder who's a hard man, skillful but hard. This is Jerry. Yeah, but is that really necessary to have that hard man type player in midfield now? Is it more the skillful type player, a player that can take on players, a player that can spot a good pass? You know, you could say that Bruni was a combination between an old school hard man centre mid and someone that could read the game. And I think that the way that the modern game is going, you know, there's not the need for a right bully boy in midfield. Paul Lambert wasn't a bully boy. He was a fantastic, he's an intelligent player, and I think that that's the way that Brendan Rodgers will go. He'll go with someone with a bit of height. He will go for someone that does have that bit of height and does have that physicality that they talk about, you know, and will be able to manage himself. You're not going to get a John Hartson type built player and for midfield, are you? I mean, even the striking department, we're not going to go for a player like that. I mean, if we do go for this guy, he could be the next Kyogo Furiashi. You never know. Definitely need cover for Carmen Carter-Vickers. We do that. 15 to 20 million is good money for Kuhn, but what will we do with it all? That's a big question these days. All the money causes so much disagreements. Does it cause so much disagreements though? We've spoke about, you've got to look at it this way, right? I mean, Celtic building the pot of cash, right, at Celtic. I'm going to look at it from a different perspective now. From the business point of sense, we've just spent 20 million down at Barrowfield, the old Barrowfield. Now that complex must be completed. If we want to do the hotel, for instance, and we want to do the main stand, and then there's the money that's already been invested in the main stand this summer and in the dugout area and the pitch, that all costs money, so that you need to keep the money aside for that. If we're bringing in 25-30 million pound a year in transfers, and we're breaking profit every year in transfer fees, it's maybe from a business point of view, the club are maybe saying, right, if we can do this for 3 years and we could bank a whole bunch of money, we're sitting with 78 to 90 million in the bank just now. If we can increase that to say 150 million, it then means that we don't have to go to the banks. We never have to go back to the bank. And maybe that's the way that Celtic are trying to run the club. After the situation back in the 1990s, where there was pressure put on the bank by Mr. Murray and his Masonic friends to foreclose on Celtic, even though there was no need to, even though there was no pressure. It was all smoky roomed stuff in establishments in Edinburgh. There's a hotel on Princess Street in Edinburgh that you wouldn't even know that it was there. The door into it is basically it's like a fire exit door, and it's where all the establishment go in Edinburgh. I can't remember, innit? I done work in it years and years ago, and I was like, what is this place? But it was all full of lawyers and politicians and judges and shit like that, and it had its own underground carpet. But anyway, Celtic will never want to have to go to the banks again, because let's face it, they don't trust the establishment in Scotland. They don't trust, after what happened in the 1990s, it's no wonder that Celtic go, fuck them, we'll make our own money and we'll bank our own money and we'll do it our own way. The main stand will need a total rebuild in the next 5-7 years, cost 100 to 120 million. Will it need a total rebuild? I don't think it'll need a total rebuild, because they can't knock down I'm sure that the frontage of Celtic Park is now classed as a heritage site thing. They'll build over the top of it. There is ways that you can build over the top of that, and you've got too many offices. The whole infrastructure of the company is run out of that building. You can't just knock that building down and rehouse everyone. Do you know, it's like the whole infrastructure of the company is based in that part of the building. So when you look at it that way, the Dirty Edinburgh establishment, yep. Yeah, when so you can't just knock it down. Do you know what I mean? 20 million at Barrowfield. A lassie's health treatment spa. That's the modern game pass is about physicality, stamina, recovery, having a wee bit of talent, a secondary requirement level in modern football. Is it? Tell that to a 17-year-old that's coming through the ranks at Barcelona. So do you know, he comes under he's got stamina. He's not really got the physical side of the game yet, because he's only 17. But it's all about talent. The top players, it's all about talent, and that's where the big money is. That's where the big money is. It's not the original front facade of Celtic Park, but yeah, I know it's not. But I think that once they redesigned it, I think it now, because of the age of it, I think it now comes under something. But anyway, you can't just knock that stand down. You can't completely flatten it. It would take far too long to rebuild the whole thing. And all the staff, the logistics for that type of thing is never going to happen anytime soon, because you would have to move. I mean, I know there's offices in the Lisbon Line stand, but that's taken up by accountant staff and other kind of staff. Do you know, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. As much as you would like it to happen, as much as we would all like it to happen, I think that the priorities at Celtic are would be looking at other things first. Anyway, there's a lot of people starting to talk about this morning, this young kid from Japan. Could he be the next Kyogo? Could he be the next Kyogo and come into Celtic? He's a younger model. He's a younger model of Kyogo, and if he does, the Celtic are weighing up an offer for him, which to me, it does say he got 19 league goals last season. And you would get him for a fee. There's some of the reports saying that you would get a fee of around about 1.5 million, which is in the price range that we kind of paid for Rio Hatate, Kyogo and all the rest of it. He's only got 18 months on his current deal, which is interesting. And I'm sure they're halfway through their season at this point, aren't they? So it could be a good option for Celtic if Dyson Maeda leaves. And I still expect Johnny Kenny to be getting told to he'll go out on loan. Interesting. Anyway, there is only 12 days 10 hours and 22 minutes until Celtic play their first game of pre-season. The countdown is on. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It's less than 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks on Friday. It was 2 weeks on Friday. 7:45 kickoff. Queen's Park. Is there selling tickets for that? It's friendly match centre. Line-up substitutes. Celtic have got their pages ready already. Anyway, Kyogo Part 2. Yeah, I hope he is. I see that there's a lot of noise coming out of France that Kyogo is a wanted man. Kyogo is a wanted man by other teams. So it'll be interesting to see if they sell him for more than 10 million. It will be interesting to see if they... And then do Celtic have a sell-on clause in the Kyogo Furiashi deal? That would be interesting if we were to get a little bit of a sell-on clause from Kyogo after such a short spell in France, in Rennes. I still think Rennes is a cracking stadium. Lovely little town, and it was a cracking stadium. I'll never forget the barbecues that we're having outside the stadium. I'm just reading a Lennon Miller article because after watching his dad's interview, if there's I know he is quoting his dad. Just reading it. See, this is where the article lets itself down. Miller's expected to move in the next 2 months with suitors from Glasgow, Germany, England, France, Belgium and Italy. It's a move to Syria that seems amongst the favourite amongst those that are watching the situation. But his dad turned around and on BBC the other day and said there's been no bids. There's no favourites. Nobody's made a bid. Nobody has made contact. But one of the mainstream media says that there's he's going to Italy. We'll see. The fact that his dad came out and said, look, there's been nobody been in touch yet. I think if anybody was going to know where Miller was going, you'd think it would be his dad, wouldn't it? The new Kyogo, he is called... where's the article away? Sin Yamade. S-H-I-N Shin. It'll be Sin Yamade of Kawasaki. Kawasaki's who Ryo Hatate came from, wasn't it? I'm sure, if I remember right. Yamade. All you Yamade, get stuck in about him. Going by that picture, I think he does have a little bit more physicality than Kyogo. He doesn't look as lightweight as Kyogo. So even though he's coming in at 25-year-old, Yamade, exactly. Shinny Yamade. Oh, you Shinny Yamade. Hopefully the boy Osman is announced this week also, says Paul. Yeah. But then if he's going to be third choice, it does mean that Celtic are hedging their bets. Because if an offer, I mean, we can only surmise, but Brendan Rodgers he's obviously been in and spoke to Chris Mackay and Michael Nicholson last week. He would have got back from holiday, and the first thing that he does is he sorts up a meeting with them, and they sit and go. He goes, right, what's the current situation? Brendan will say, what's the current situation with bringing in players? Because let's face it, Brendan has nothing to do with the whole negotiation side of it. So he gives the two of them upstairs the list of players that he wants, and then he says, go and get them for me. And then he comes back off holiday and he says, right, what the fuck have you been doing? Where's my players? We're back in on Monday. I told you I wanted them in before pre-season. We're back in on Monday. And then they will say, right, what's the update situation with this player, this player, this player? Who's getting new contracts? Who's getting extended? Have you spoke to his agent? Have you done this? Have you done this? And meanwhile, Nicholson and Mackay's going, it's only fucking 2 years, man. You fucking hell. We call him the Celtic Maddie. Yeah. It'll be good if we get him. It will be good if we get him. It does keep that continuation of the... it does give us that continuation of players from Japan. But anyway, Baz, I want Rodgers to be given a daily transfer update. Yeah, that will happen when they get back into pre-season. It will not happen the first week at Lennoxtown. It will happen when... I don't think you'll get any information out of Brendan Rodgers next week. They start back training. Pre-season training starts back tomorrow, and players will start coming back in tomorrow. There's still a lot of players that are on international break, so you basically get the youth players coming back in. So Brendan Rodgers will be discussing which youth players will come in. I don't think you're going to get much coming out of Brendan Rodgers. He doesn't even need to speak to the media next week unless there's any players come in and he's asked how he feels about them. But then that usually goes out through Celtic, so he doesn't even have to speak to the mainstream media. Then the week of the 30th is when you'll start getting a little bit more coming out of Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers will obviously speak to the media the day before the friendly game on Friday the 4th. So there could be a media interview on either Wednesday or Thursday next week by Brendan Rodgers, and then they head over to Ireland, and then once they head over to Ireland, they then head over to Portugal. It's at the Portuguese camp that you'll get the media. I think it'll be the same as last year when Celtic went to America. You had media guys at the training base every day trying to get information for Brendan as part of the tour. I don't know, it's maybe not going to, maybe that's why he's went to Portugal, because we'll go to Portugal, it's a closed door training camp, there's no tickets for sale. Do you know, it's like we can lock ourselves away and just focus on getting the team really ready for next season, and then you come back to Celtic Park on Saturday the 19th. There'll obviously be media interest in that game, so you'll get Brendan Rodgers, if that game's on the Saturday, you'll get a Brendan Rodgers press conference on the Thursday before that. So, you know, you're talking that's halfway through July at that point. But yeah, it would be good if Brendan would give daily updates, but the thing is, he's not going to. It's not hysterical that you can knock down and rehouse seasons in the stadium for one season. Remain stand. How are you going to right, Mark, if we've sold 50 odd thousand season ticket hold, right, the people for the main stand pay a premium for their tickets. They're not going to sit in the Lisbon Lions end and then miss out the Rangers game. They're not going to get shifted to there. So it's not going to happen. This knocking down of the main stand, it's not going to happen. We've lost both their wingers, Jota and Kuhn. If Red Bull buy Kuhn, we've not lost Jota. I mean, we've lost him for half the season, but he's still there, and I think he'll come back a better player. I think he'll come back a way better player. Do you think that Kyogo was played out of position? Ian? Weird one. I'm sure Brendan would love a Zoom call for me, saying, Brendan, what's happening? What's happening with transfers? He's out until February. No, I said he was out for 6 months. They said that he would be back by January. I think he'd be back quicker than that. I do think he'd be back quicker. They always, when they look at it, they always take the longest part of the transfer, the time out. I think he will be back before then. Let me just go back onto this page. Anyway, that's the transfer news for this morning. Celtic haven't announced, but transfer guru, a certain transfer guru, has said that Benji is in at Celtic. Deal done. 1.5 million euros, which is around about 1.2 million pounds. A lot of Celtic fans are underwhelmed by the fact that we're only paying that kind of transfer fee. We look at it, we paid 1.5 million for Matt O'Reilly. We sold him for 25 million. So the fact that Benji is underpriced and undervalued, it looks like it's a cracking bit of business for Celtic. If there's any more information comes out today, we might jump on later on, but it's a Sunday, I doubt it. Anyway, I shall see you first thing tomorrow morning, and hopefully Celtic might announce a few players tomorrow so we can get a little bit more excited, and then hopefully we'll see some media pictures of players returning to Celtic Park training. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.